Welcome to the FAM Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny HWIN, and this is a series that offers a deep dive into the minds and journeys of the artists and creatives shaping our cultural landscape today. Today's special guest is Tigrr. Whether it's inspiring movement through music or summoning deep feelings through art, Tigrr is on this planet to make an impact. Based out of New York City, they come slinging all kinds of house music in a range of moods, lighting up dance floors from Brooklyn to Burning Man. Expect diverse sounds from all over the world to act as medicine to take you outside of time and into your body. Welcome, Tigrr. How you doing, buddy? Love it.
I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so excited to have you on the show.
Yeah.
You rocked it at Halloween, and you also rocked it at the Circadian Rhythms party
Yeah.
a few months prior to that. And you may not remember because it was so long ago, you actually played our Halloween party 2 years ago.
Oh, I remember.
A
Yeah.
quasi surprise last minute edition at 5 a.m. And I remember walking down into the basement and just seeing so many sweaty bodies just grooving and moving so hard to what sounded like an R&B remix
Yeah.
at what has traditionally been much more of a melodic house techno kind of vibe. And
Yeah.
I was so impressed that night. I was like, gotta have you back the next year, more in prime time. Want to just kind of start with, your upbringing. Where are you from? How did you got into music? How did you get into DJing? Um, you're from New York, right? Or
Yeah. I was born in Brooklyn.
born in Brooklyn,
Yep.
but not raised in Queens. No, okay.
I was actually raised in the Jersey Shore,
Oh, nice.
which it was cool. I mean, it was like the suburbs, I was by the beach and stuff, but my grandparents lived in Brooklyn, so I was always back and forth. So I'm a New Yorker for
Nice,
sure.
nice.
Um, and as for music, I mean, honestly, my whole life has been a musical journey. I was in band playing the saxophone. In high school, I was in jazz band. I was in marching band. Like 10 years ago, I got into producing and made like a experimental hip hop album that's on SoundCloud. Kind of embarrassing at this point, but like, I'm proud of it because it was a creative project that was like really a moment for me to express some things. And then, believe it or not, I started DJing during the pandemic. It was something that I always wanted to do, but for whatever reason, it just like I just never, it's one of those things where you're like, oh, I'd really be interested in that. But then, obviously, during the pandemic, we all had a bunch of time, so started doing it and loved it. I feel like I bring a unique flavor that you were kind of alluding to. I like to drop a lot of nostalgic feelings and like DJ edits and like even pop songs and like house remixes and stuff like that. Because I feel like it's important to connect emotionally with the crowd, and just a really good way to do that is to play on their nostalgia. So like the other night I played Justin Timberlake, which is like you're not going to hear that at every club, but it's like you get people like invested in what you're doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's so interesting because you said you started in band, marching band. You come from a background that is musical, live musical, but also rhythmic in marching band. How has that background influenced you as a DJ?
That's an interesting question. I think probably just the range of sounds and feelings that are available to me. Like if I was to analyze myself and my style, I think one of my strengths is drawing from so many different places and so many different genres. So there was a period of probably a couple years where all I listened to was jazz, right?
Hmm.
While I was in jazz band and stuff. And then there was a couple years where all I listened to was hip hop. And then a couple of years where all I listened to was house music. So now I'm taking all of those influences and combining them in my sets. And I think it gives people a unique experience.
We live in this era now where every genre is at our fingertips. And so this generation of music listeners don't just listen to alternative. They don't just listen to hip hop. They
Yeah.
don't just listen to rap or pop or country. It's a blend of all of these things. In the dance world, so much of music when you're a DJ is about fitting a lane, right? So much of music as a DJ or a producer is I gotta make it sound like this way to get on that label,
Mm.
right? As a person with such a diverse musical background, how have you been able to find your lane, genre blending and genre bending so much?
Yeah. So that's actually it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard because people, like promoters and clubs and
Okay.
whatever, they're like they want to know what you're gonna do, and they have, their vibe or their party, and they want like something. So it is difficult, but I think it's my biggest strength as well. Because like I said before, if you're at one of my sets, you don't know what to expect. And I think a lot of DJs can get stuck in their specific lane and then don't have room to adapt. So like when the crowd's not really vibing, right? Okay, let's say this. I think something that's really important to keep in mind when you're DJing is that your entire job is to make people happy. And it's easy to, like, if you're getting into it because you want to show people these interesting tracks that you like, or you want to share some things that you're into, like that's great. But if people aren't feeling it, they're not feeling it. So you have to be able to like go with the flow and shift your vibe. So like you referenced that one Halloween party that I was playing at a 5 a.m. set. I remember you guys asked me to play a 5 a.m. set, kind of bring the mood down, just a little more chill. So I prepped something and I played the first couple songs, and people just weren't like, that wasn't what they wanted. Because Doug, who played a great set right before me, and he had the room like real high. So it just wasn't natural for me to come in and like bring it down. So I had to improvise, and I took a left turn and I brought it way back up, and that was
And
history.
here we
So
are. And here we
so
are.
yeah, you have to be able to adapt and like, have those different tastes and flavors in your back pocket.
Yeah, no, that was a masterful adaptation, if you will, a masterful
Thanks.
improv and audible. So much of, like you said, the ability, the skill, or the art rather, of DJing is in figuring out your sound, right? And for you, so much of what makes your sets unique is you bend genres and you blend genres. But that's the art. The skill is, like you said, in the ability to react on the fly in real time and to literally pull out of your back pocket a different USB stick with different library of music with the right tunes for the right moment for the right vibe.
Mhm.
You know, it's interesting that you're a lifelong musician, but you actually came into DJ relatively recently. And so, I'm curious, what has really been the biggest thing keeping you focused on DJing, like what reinforcing this passion for DJing versus some of the other art endeavors that you have?
Yeah. Um, I actually think a lot about this, to be honest. Um,
Because you're a multifaceted artist, which I
yeah.
don't know if our community knows, but beyond DJing, you do other art, and feel free to share.
Yeah, I do photography. I'm a visual artist as well. I paint. I do like Photoshop stuff. So yeah, the way that I approach art is like it's an extension of what I'm feeling, and it's my way of connecting with people. So like I don't need to use words to express myself. I'll do it with music or art or whatever, and then people through experiencing that art are getting to know me and connected with me. So when I'm DJing, to me, it's a dialogue between me and the audience. It's been an exploration because I've done, when you're DJing, especially in New York in this scene, you kind of have to just accept gigs sometimes. And when I've done that and it hasn't, like, that connection it doesn't exist organically because of whatever the setting is, it doesn't feel good, you know. But like this is why I love playing in 57, because you've created like not just through the community and the vibe, but also the physical space down here. This is a musical nest. So people come down here, like the rest of the party's going on. You can go up and chat or whatever, but people come here to listen and to move and dance. And that's when I can tell what people are feeling. I can tell if they're feeling me, if they're connecting with me. they're releasing through the dance, and I'm also releasing through sharing. So that's what motivates me.
That's awesome. Speaking of the 57 nightclub studio that we're in right now, you just played and rocked her Halloween set, but this year you played much earlier at
Yeah.
11 versus at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
How is the set for you this year?
It was good. I mean, it's totally different from what I'm usually doing because it's like, all right, an opening set is complicated because you're setting the vibe for the rest of the night. And you can't come in like just thinking you're gonna like blast people off because it's just not gonna work, right? So you have to like gradually get people involved and like bring the energy to a certain level. And Tuan was playing after me, and I know what kind of music he plays because I'm also a fan, right? So you have to be like considerate of the next DJ, and I think I did a good job.
You
Yeah.
killed it, man.
But it was cool because I usually never get to actually enjoy the parties, because like you have to stay, you gotta stay sober, you gotta stay like sharp, right? So it was nice to like come down here, do my thing, and then I could just chill. So yeah, thanks, man.
We're so
Thanks, man.
grateful. Tiger, thanks so much, man. It's been a
Dude,
pleasure having you.
appreciate it.
And dude, can't wait to have you back in the studio again.
Hell yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
awesome, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Cheers, man.